Good afternoon and welcome to Real Talk right here on SABC3. So, for over 2 decades, we have been captivated, engrossed, enthralled by this lady with her bubbly personality, her charismatic nature, and this energy that just never seems to end. We were introduced to her through Top Sport, but we know her mainly for Top Billing. She's done the Bar One Manhunt. If I had to describe her in one word, well, besides talented, I would have to say consistent. And I'm pretty sure by now you have figured out that I'm speaking about Ursula Chikane.
Oh, consistent.
Consistent, aren't you though?
I like to think that I am.
I think you are. From the first time I saw you to now, you have never dropped the ball.
No, I've dropped the ball. People just haven't seen.
People didn't see, which is consistent.
My thing is, if you're going to cry, you cry at home. Nobody should see you crying, and nobody should see you floundering. So it's that thing with the duck. Underneath,
so underneath you paddling
on
like
top.
crazy, but on top it's like, yes, I can do this. So I have this theory about Bono, right, from U2,
Yes.
that he is the world president, right? Now, when I think about you, you strike me as the world head girl.
Oh,
Yes.
oh. Yes.
Yes. The head girl, her hair's always done, she's always neat, everybody loves her, she can talk to everyone, her skirt's always right. Do you know what I'm saying? That's you though.
I never thought of myself as head girl. At school, the highest ranking I had was as a prefect, and in the drummies, I was a baton twirler and a flaggy. But when you say head girl, I understand what you say. Because at the convent, our skirts were measured. You couldn't be higher than 4 fingers above the knee. Your hair had to be perfect all the time, in the plaits and stuff. But I never always was that girl in the box. And there are pictures to prove it.
Is there like a picture with you and green hair somewhere that we haven't found?
No, but there is a picture of me at about 10 years old with masses of hair and these elastic bands trying to hold the hair in, like really straining. And you can see on my blazer, it must have been Kool-Aid stains and all sorts of things. And it was the day we had to take photographs at school. So I was not looking like the head girl. But in TV, you learn when you're shooting that there should be no distractions. Minimal jewelry, no noises. Your hair is not allowed to be flying in front of the camera. So you learn to edit as you go.
Simplify it.
Yeah.
So back to 10 years old in the convent. What kind of person were you in school? Were you the one doing all the debating, the speeches? You know, if netball tour happened, you'd be the one to report back. Was that your vibe, or were you shy?
The shy, retiring girl with an amazing sense of humor and no sense of self. We started, my first 2 school years were at Bosmont Second Primary.
Babe from Bosmont. B.O.B.
And then we went to the convent from Standard 1 until matric. And going from Bosmont Second Primary to St. Catherine's, it seemed like a whole different universe. And I just felt like a duck completely out of water. I didn't know who I was supposed to be and how I was supposed to be. So for a few years, I was trying to find myself. So the shy, retiring girl came out.
So when you say that you didn't know who you were supposed to be, did it look like other people knew who they were supposed to be? So it was kind of a comparison game that you were playing?
We were the first black kids at the school. Nobody else looked like us. They didn't speak like us. There were people there with Scottish accents and freshly off the boat from Portugal, Portuguese accents. And it was just, I mean, come on. 1976, the country was in a riotous uproar. We were at this convent, being followed by ABC News from America. It was just bizarre. How is a child of 8 years old supposed to grapple with all of this? And then seeing everybody else carrying on as normal because they had been from preschool to Standard 1 together. They were used to it. And then here were us lot sticking out like sore thumbs going,
what is going on here?
Yes. So it was quite a traumatic thing when you think back on it. But then something inside you goes, hang on, soldier. strap up your boots, put your big
old panties
on, and go to war. Deal with it. So at school, you would be this one person that fitted into that world.
And you'd go
and
home.
then you would go home and you would fit into another world.
So when does the broadcasting bug bite?
9 years old.
Really?
Watching Rian Kruiwagen doing the news on SAIK.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And I looked at this and I thought, man, that looks like a really interesting thing to do. And then also watching Dorian Berry and thinking, well, there's a woman doing what the man is doing. And I would take my suitcase or the milk crate, put it in front of the basin in the bathroom.
And you would have a little
And the bathroom
news.
mirror was a nice TV size, nice monitor size. And then cut out articles from the Sunday Times and read the news. 9 years old.
Were you ever trying to be convinced to do something else? Because, I mean, you know, there's the careers that, you know, the engineer, and so you were never even fazed about that. You knew you were never going to try and even go down that route.
Now, I wanted to be a politician because we were highly politicized. My family is highly politicized. We've married into highly political families as well. And I always did think that I would end up in politics, but my destiny was cast at 9 years old.
So was this what you always wanted to do? Like, did you always know that you want to be a broadcaster?
I didn't know what it was called back then, but I'd always seen myself as either a history teacher or as a politician. And broadcasting, as it happened, was my destiny. And it found me at 9. I didn't know back then, but by the time I was ready to enter the world of broadcasting, I was doing my final year at Wits Tech, and one of my classmates, Kim Ivings, she was Ivings back then, she was doing her prac at what was then to become Tiger Brands. Jungle Oats wanted to start a youth sports program, and Kimmy was doing her internship, and they were talking about this show, but there's something missing. They'd already had done the casting. They had 12 vibrant, amazing young people. And Kim said, I'm at school with this girl, and she's cute, she's sporty, she does all sorts of sports.
Yeah.
She's bubbly. Let me send her for the audition. I went a few days later, my first and only audition ever. I dressed badly. I didn't know a thing about makeup, but I made a joke about being awkward, and the camera seemed to like that little spark.
Yes.
And they said, that's it, done.
You're in here.
You're in.
Now, most people, when they say, you know, you started off in sport, the first thing is, oh, you know, sport's such a male-dominated area.
Yes.
Yeah, it was as bad back then, right?
It was so bad back then. I think I was one of maybe only 3 female sport presenters and the only black female sport presenter. I started off with junior sport and then made my way into top sport.
Top sport, I remember you on top sport.
And it was a hideous experience for me because I was juggling as well. I had newly started on 5FM with the World Chart Show.
World Chart Show. Oh.
Which was to become my best effort.
Do you know that no one has done a chart show that good since you left, right? And I'm not just talking about 5FM now, I'm talking about across the country.
I think that there's a reason behind that. It's because it was produced both in Hollywood and here at home. So we would get a pre-packaged, half-produced show, the CDs, the labeling, the script and everything, and then the production team in Johannesburg. And we were the only country in the world that went live. Everybody else packaged theirs. And we would go live with all the production notes. So you can imagine the stresses on the producers. All I had to do was just read the script. I just had to announce. And then I think the show ran for 12 years, 5 of which I did on my own. And then after that, they were like, you know what, Brown Sugar, you've been doing this for so long. Just do it on your own. Because all around the world, it was done co-hosted.
As a co-host.
And then I just took it and ran with it.
Listen, I want to take a quick ad break. When we come back, we're going to talk about you and Kilimanjaro. I want to know, right? I want to know all about that story. And you touched on it already, Brown Sugar. I want to know how that name came along. Join us after the break. Don't go anywhere. And we're back. If you're just joining us, you're a little bit late, but don't worry, you're gonna catch the bulk of the show. Today, our guest is Ursula Chikane. Before the break, I wanted to know from her, where did brown sugar come from?
You know, lots of people think that a marketing team came together in a room and that they worked over this.
And there was like mind maps and plans and all of that.
Oh, what happened is that in 94, 95, I went down to work in Cape Town on the regional Western Cape station. And the lady that brought us our toasted sandwiches, teas and coffees in the mornings, she was getting used to all our names, and we'd be sitting in the production office, and then she'd say to Vince Gibbons, "Here you go, Vince, your toasted cheese with tea, 1 sugar and milk.
Yeah.
Charlene, here's your coffee, black, no sugar, da-da-da. Here you go, Ursula, your coffee with brown sugar." And then eventually she would just go, "Here you go, brown sugar."
And it stuck.
And it stuck. So from there, people started calling me brown sugar. And I liked it a lot. It stuck, and it's been with me ever since.
Do you not ever worry, because you know you get advised when you're in the industry, you know, you're a personality, use your real name, you know, on radio, just, you know, like Mark Gilman, Mark Pilgrim, Gareth Cliff, Ursula Stapelfeld. Did you not want to use your name?
You see, Ursula Stapelfeld is not a broadcast-friendly name. True. I love my original name, but it's heavy and weighty.
Yeah.
Ursula Chikane is snappier, shorter, and works.
Yeah.
Brown Sugar as a moniker on radio, as a handle, absolutely was brilliant. Also for that time, I had a listener send me a long religious email. "Do you not know that brown sugar is another name for drugs and da-da-da-da? And as a public figure, you should be responsible."
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's another name, I think, for heroin or
Oh,
something.
really?
You know, like Mary Jane.
Oh, yayo, the blow.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
No.
But brown sugar, I mean,
Can you imagine if you had to have a Twitter handle, Ursula Stapelfeld? You wouldn't have any characters.
I don't think they're enough. No.
You wouldn't have any characters. Your tweets would just be hi, bye, thanks.
People still call me Stapelfeld.
Really?
They still do, and I've been Chikane for
8 years.
Is it 8 years?
Yeah,
oh, you know better than I
It's
do.
8 years now. I was actually saying, one of the guys on the team were like, "When did she become Chikane?" And I was like, 8 years ago. He's like, "I've been living under a rock." I'm like, "Yeah, hope it was finished, because you've been there for a while." Now, here's the thing. Everyone's got a story about how they got onto Top Billing. Because Patience Stevens, who is the owner of Top Billing, she always comes like, you know, just like sneaks next to you and says, "Hey, you." When was your "hey, you" with Patience?
Cape Town. I was doing a horse racing colour commentary story for Top Sport. And I'd already had a number of Wimbledons under my belt, Gunston 500s, Beach Bonanzas. So by the time Top Billing found me, I was already a young outside broadcast specialist.
Yeah.
And she saw me in action, and she came up and she said, "Hey, I think you'd make a great addition to the Top Billing team." And Top Billing was so young then; they hadn't started shooting in the houses.
So it hadn't hit the mansion
or they had
glam
just
vibes.
started.
Oh.
Yes, and the Top Billing walk and talk hadn't been invented yet because Madam wasn't there yet. So
Did you invent the walk and talk? No way.
the hand on the hip,
Sideways, glide across the tiles.
the good night.
So you were around the time with Bassie and Michael Moll.
Pre-Bussy, pre-Michael. I was Top Billing presenter number 3.
Out of all the places that you found yourself going to in the world, which one still sticks to you?
Antarctica, because that was on my dad's bucket list. We grew up in a house surrounded by books, and my love of reading comes from that and my grade 1 teacher. And these places were in the Encyclopedia Britannica, and Dad would talk about these places as though they were mystical. And when they said, "Okay, you're off on another Top Billing jaunt, you'll be out of the country for 3 weeks, back for 1 and then out again." And one of them, by the way, is Antarctica. I said, "I'm taking it. I'm absolutely going. I don't care. I don't care how cold it is. I don't care if the food is going to be frozen fish and water. I am in there, like swimwear."
Where have you gone because of Top Billing and because of work, and then you went back out of your own accord this time because you were like, I want to go on holiday there? Because you say you land and you're working all the time. Just a place where you were like, I want to go there and enjoy this on my own terms.
The Masai Mara.
Really? Did you go back? Okay.
And then when we did Bar One Manhunt, Francois van Wyk, he put that on the list as another place to go to because everybody was still just so in awe.
Yeah.
And then that took us up to Mount Kilimanjaro. And I think that everybody should start a traveling fund as soon as they can. With 5 cents, 10 cents, start your traveling fund and your collagen fund as soon as possible.
Now, when you speak about Kilimanjaro, I read somewhere that you didn't have to climb it.
I didn't
You didn't have to climb it. They said that fly you in and you do the opening link and do the closing link and, make it look good for TV, but something in you said, no, I'm going to climb it.
It's not the way we're made. And this was with the Manhunt production. I was the only female on the crew.
Yeah.
Later on, another production company would take it to SABC One.
Yeah.
And it changed, and it just didn't have that thing.
That thing.
And I thought, if all these guys have to do all the challenges, I am fit and strong.
Yeah.
I've always been sporty, athletic. I'll make it, even though I summited a good 4 hours after everybody else.
Yeah.
I was only the only girl on the team. Your pit stops are longer than theirs.
Yes, because you actually have to find a place to squat where no one can see you.
When no one can see you, and then everything is frozen to everything, and it's But an absolutely amazing experience, life-changing.
And did you not have problems with your breathing and your cardiovascular there?
Towards the top, I did. And my guide actually said to me that he is not carrying a corpse down. And I should prepare to go back down again. And I said to him, well, how much further do we have to go? And he said, it's just maybe 45 minutes to Stella Point, and then another hour and a half maybe to Uhuru Point. And I said, if I make it up to Stella, will I have summited? And he said, yes, you just wouldn't have been able to take the picture. And I said, my brother, as it is now, I can still put one foot in front of the other. Though at that altitude, just lifting your foot a centimeter feels like the biggest accomplishment in the world.
Sure.
I said, I can still breathe. I'm not dizzy yet. He said, okay, I'll make a deal with you. As soon as you get dizzy, just a little bit, we turn around and go back down. I summited. I did.
She did it.
And by the time I did, the boys were coming past me already.
And you're like, that's okay. Listen, you want to stay exactly where you are. After the break, we'll talk more about her jet-setting lifestyle and a freak accident that changed her life. Stay with us. And welcome back to Real Talk right here on SABC3. Still with us on the couch. What a conversation we are having. Miss Ursula Chikane, I need to talk to you about this. You call it a freak accident, right?
Yeah.
You were shooting and you slipped.
Sure. It happened the day after my 39th birthday. And we were shooting Top Billing Links. And we had just watched an insert that one of the production members had worked on. And I was going with my link script. I was fully dressed and made up. And I was barefoot, carrying my link script and my pair of shoes to position 1. And the home had these highly polished floors and mats that didn't have the rubber underneath. And all through shooting the location itself, the cameraman kept saying, somebody's going to fall and hurt themselves so badly. And people were slipping and landing on their glutes and on the shoulder, and even the interior decorator slipped down the stairs. I slipped, and they saw it happening in slow motion. My body lifted, turned, and then I landed on my chin, and then my face hit the floor.
Ooh. So you didn't fall down something?
I slipped like that and landed like that.
So, and you landed obviously head first?
First on my chin, and then my mouth crashed into the concrete floor. And I'm so surprised that I can speak so calmly about it, because normally when I speak about this, it still is a bit traumatic.
Why is that? Is it because you know that it could have been worse, or do you just keep on replaying it in your mind?
You do. You get that trauma because the instant my mouth hit the floor, my lips blew up, my eyes, I was bruised already. I lost 4 teeth and I lost gum and bone in it. Was
it sore as it happened?
No, because your body has a way of protecting you against that.
Okay.
But the consummate professional, I was wearing a Vera Wang dress, which was light in color, and I made sure I didn't get a drop of blood on it, even though my face is lying there in a pool of blood. And even when we took it, Robert Bell, the stylist, was like, go to the hospital in the dress. And I said, there's no way. The dress is not the property of the production company.
So you undressed?
Undressed.
And got dressed again in your stuff?
In my own clothes, and sped off to the hospital where a maxillofacialist came and cleaned me up. And then I went to a specialist dentist who then had to extract what was left of the one tooth that was there. And then I had my lips stitched up, top and bottom. And I've recently had cortisone injections to try to dissolve the scar tissue in my top and bottom lips, because I'm tired of the bump now. It's 10 years.
How does it affect you now? Do you wake up when it gets cold? Does it get sore?
No.
Okay.
No. So then I had dental reconstructive work, and I've had bone implanted and gum reconstruction, and I've got an innovative dental implant system that my dentists worked with me on. So, yeah.
I don't suppose you could sue anyone.
No.
Look at me looking after the money. I mean, not top billing, not the house owner.
Do you know, everybody just took such great care of me in that stage, and nobody spared any expenses, and it was an accident. It was just an accident. I don't know why it happened, but I did then go into a 3-year self-imposed exile. I buried myself in a hole.
So you did not get out of your house, you did not do gigs, you did not do any TV work?
I didn't do TV work, or I didn't do TV work that would have me in a close-up shot. I would do TV work that they could do medium close-ups and wides.
Did you feel that you look strange or something's happened?
Yes.
Because, okay.
Yes.
So was there something wrong though with you? Or were you just like projecting?
No, there was something wrong, because in the beginning I had temporary implants.
Yeah.
And they were like, if you can imagine chewing gum, like chiclets.
Okay. Like
we were working on an old, antiquated system, and I had holes drilled into what was left of my gums. And because I didn't have gums to cover the length of the teeth, when I smiled, just long, just horrible. And I became the girl that smiled behind her hand.
So you'd laugh with your hand in front of your face?
And retreated into myself. What I did do was corporate work, stage work, and if there was a live-to-screen camera, I would speak to the camera guys and say, just don't go in on a close-up, keep it as wide as possible.
What got you out of the deep, dark 3-year funk, if you can call it that?
I forced myself out. I had to. I had to. I would go to gym every single day. I knew that I had to find a reason to get out of the house. Okay. And so that was gym and CrossFit training. And I was still shooting, and nobody knew that I was suffering silently and looking. I mean, I would look at myself in the mirror and I would just think, who is that freak? Where's that smile?
So what I'm trying to understand is, why did you not feel that your talent was enough for us to see past the teeth?
Because TV is a very cruel medium, and nobody wants. I'm so glad that things have changed now, that people take you based on not necessarily what you look like, but what you can offer. And especially doing the country's longest running, highest regarded glamour show, it just, Anele, I really did look different, and the shape of my face also changed because my jaw changed. And I didn't want to bring the rest of the production down. I didn't want to hold anything up. I didn't want to be treated with kid gloves and as a special case to get away with anything. And I think more than the looks, because I've never thought of myself as beautiful, so thank you very much. Thank you, makeup artist. My voice and my ability to speak and communicate was taken away from me. And why I say that the dental implant is innovative is because instead of having just one unit drilled into my gums, my dental team were able to put a slit between these two teeth, so that I have a bit of sibilance, so that I say to them, listen, I don't just want to look okay anymore, I need to be able to speak properly. And in order, there's so many things you take for granted, just that little slit between your teeth that make you say the words properly. Wow. And I wasn't able to speak properly, and that really got to me. I wasn't able to communicate the way I was previously.
Okay, so on the way, I know that you do a lot of work with the Smile Foundation, and it makes sense, you know, with what you went through. I want to discuss that, and Ursula, the businesswoman, okay, because I know outside of broadcasting, you know, there's some things that you do on the side. I've worked for you before with your, you know that, I know that. She's looking at me like I'm making it up. She's like, girl, you are lying to these people. No, I'm not, and you'll see why. Stay with us. And we're back. We're still with Ursula Chikane. So we know that she wanted to broadcast from the age of 9. She was a very sporty lady. And we just covered the freak accident that changed her life, which is why you did a bit of work with the Smile Foundation. It was quite close to your heart.
Absolutely. You know, Anele, once you have your smile literally and physically wiped off your face, and then you have it given back a number of years later, but you can start smiling with confidence, you want to give back as well. Yeah. And I found that the work that the Smile Foundation does with children, especially with cleft palates and cleft lips, is amazing and life-changing. So they would go into deep rural areas and educate the mums and make them aware of how there are possibilities to prevent cleft palates and cleft lips by taking folic acids during pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
And a number of other things. I mean, honestly.
I didn't know that.
You know, moms were literally locking and hiding their children with cleft palates and cleft lips away because they didn't know how to explain it. And very few people knew that they were actually repairable. So you see these before and after pictures of little babies with the missing gap in the top lip or the cleft palate, and then the after photos of these kids.
And the smile.
The smile is from Monday to Sunday. And that really resonated with me. But people underestimate the power of a smile.
Yeah. So the night before you came back and you finally said, okay, fine, that's it. I'm going back to TV. They can do their close-ups all they want. This is me. Was it like a sleepless night for you? Or were you just like, you know what, I'm going back to my love, which is broadcasting. I don't care.
I was so nervous because if you haven't practiced your craft for a while, you do become a bit rusty.
Obviously, your 20,000 hours just kicks in. I know Malcolm Gladwell says 10,000 hours, but I mean, 2 decades, I think you've pretty much rallied up 20,000 hours.
20,000 plus tax.
So, because you are a broadcasting powerhouse, I can't not ask you this question because I know there's people watching and they want to be presenters and, you know, we have to pick your brain. Would you say presenters are born or are they made?
Either. It depends on how badly you want it. Either. When we started out, the game was completely different. And we did a lot of slog work and we weren't able to monetize and take advantage of the opportunities the way the new generation of broadcasters are able to. And I think that these days, very much, if you're willing to put in the work, as a broadcaster, you're also a business, which we weren't back then. If you're not willing, and really, a lot of people will say for the sake of magazine column inches, oh, it's not hard work. Psh, it is hard work. It's hard work making sure that you're always camera ready. It's hard work doing your research and prep. It's hard work standing in front of the camera with that smile genuinely plastered on your face for take after take after take. And it's hard work eating the food that you have to eat. We had an experience of one presenter that sort of moonlighted with us for just a few weeks, because when she found out that it wasn't
all
the
glam.
glitz and glam.
Yeah, it wasn't all glam. And this is the thing people don't realize about top billing as well, is that, yes, the product that comes out of the TV, that's glamorous, but the hard work behind that, including the presenter, is something else.
It's completely different. They see the edited version of what goes on. And this young woman wanted sushi for lunch, and the crew laughed and said,
Yeah,
no,
have a sandwich.
We have takeaway burgers and there's no sushi. Oh, but this is top billing. Yes, but this is the working budget.
Yeah.
Get with it.
This is top billing, but everything else is bottom.
Come on.
Don't worry about
come
it.
On.
So who makes you better at what you do? Who's this person that you know you can call, and they're there to keep you on your toes, always honest with you?
My family. Always, always, always have been able to keep me just grounded. We're a tight-knit family. We always have been. 6 children. I'm the middle one.
Okay.
Well, sort of. I'm number 3 of 6.
Okay.
I had an argument with a friend who said that myself and my little sister, we were joint middles. I was like, no, I am the middle. But my family is incredibly supportive and real. There is no big dealism.
It's Ursula. It's Ursula from the TV.
No.
None of that.
Because I'm still the girl that will go home for Sunday lunch and help clear the table and do the dishes if I haven't had my nails done. And I'm still the girl that walks around. I mean, last night I was on air. I was wearing a pair of shorts, a top, and I was barefoot in studio. I love being barefoot. So when you have a family that doesn't buy into the hype, it certainly does help. When you've got people around you and all they're doing is hyping you up, you need to take a step back and say, what is in it for them?
Yeah.
If somebody is on your crew and they don't have the guts to say, listen, you're dropping the ball here, you're missing calls, or you're taking on too much work, cut back a bit, or you are now almost overexposed, pull back.
Would you say that's an issue with the industry today, is that we are flirting with the very thin line of overexposing?
You know, Anele, if I were to come back into the industry, if I were to return to TV, I would be coming in as a beginner.
Which is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, because I learned what I did back then. I'm now unlearning it and relearning what you guys are teaching us. Jason Roberts, who was with me at 5FM when it was still Radio 5, he said to me, look, I was on, I think, 3 TV shows plus 5FM. He said, you're going to be overexposed. He said, every now and again, pull back. And that's what I did throughout my years on TV. I would do Gladiators and then disappear for 3 to 6 months. Back onto top billing, do that for 3 years solid, disappear. Then do Bar One Manhunt, or just keep disappearing. Okay. You need to, people need to miss you a bit.
A little bit.
Give them just enough room to miss you.
Yeah. And so I asked you, who makes you better at what you do?
Family.
Yes, I want to know now, what do you do? What makes you better at what you do? Like, what religious thing do you do? Are you reading a lot? Do you make sure that you are meditating a lot? You know, what act are you doing to make sure that you're on top of your game?
How did you know that I'm a praying kind of girl?
Because I can see the spirit.
A lot. I'm very deeply rooted in my faith. I'm a cradle Catholic. I strayed from the church and came straight back again, and I've done all my searches, and I am back home and a practicing sacramental Catholic, and it's wonderful. It's I'm one of those old school strict Catholics. Now I try to do things by the book.
Convent girl.
And it was the convent that had me running away from the church. But life booted me straight back in again.
Because you found it on your terms now. You weren't finding it because you were being taught it at school, you know. I think you mentioned something about turning 40 earlier during the break, and I want to talk about that later, actually, your evolvement, there we go.
Yeah.
But I think you're saying you're straight because it was always taught to you and it was kind of like given to you. And when you find it, then it's yours.
Pope St. John Paul II very famously said, we are not Catholics on our own terms. And with any religion, I suppose, people go, yeah, but there are too many rules, this, that, and the next thing, and they take the bits that work for them.
It's a buffet.
Which is what I used to do. Canteen Catholic. And once you get why the rules are there, once you get it, you just get it. You do. So I do devotionals and I pray novenas and I do the Adoration Chapel and
Okay, last time. We need to take a break for the last time. We're gonna talk about the business because I keep on forgetting to ask you about that. And then, I don't know if I'm gonna make you cry again, but we must speak about Simba.
Simba?
We must speak about Simba because Simba was very close to you. And you were quite instrumental in giving him a wonderful send-off. So we have to talk about it. I know she's gonna cry and it's gonna be my fault. Stay with us. And we're back with the lady who does not have the luxury of having a bad day at work. If she has to be on camera, it is on. There is no time to feel sorry for yourself. But do you remember that when I did a talk show, Cheeky Media did Tongue in Cheek?
Yes.
You came on and you directed one day.
Yes.
And you were quite remarkable at it. Would you do that, be a director?
Yes, I would. And the only reason I say that is because I haven't watched TV for about a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay.
Because I just see too many subpar productions.
Okay.
So I love giving back and I love sharing the expertise. And I would go and direct 1 or 2 shows. Absolutely, because I want to see people shining in the best possible way. It angers
It grates
me
you, I can see it.
to see who gets the flag, the presenter.
Yeah.
And I just think that people need to start sweating the small stuff.
Yeah.
The presenter needs to look and be as fabulous as possible at all times. And I don't think that our industry is resourcing shows enough. I know that budgets haven't been cut that much, but don't take what's meant to go into the production budget and put it elsewhere.
Don't cut all the corners.
Don't. Lighting, sound, all those things, just do it. And if you need a floor manager, get the floor manager.
So you pretty much get the business of things. Are you still involved in other businesses? I know you used to do in-flight entertainment for a certain airline. And by in-flight entertainment, not like she used to be in there dancing during the flights. She used to curate the in-flight entertainment. Do you still do that?
I've since stopped doing IFE because it was time heavy, and I simply just don't have the time. It was something that I enjoyed tremendously, working with people like you.
Yeah.
I've found also that the skills that I've honed over the years are really helping me now with coaching executives, which I do, yes.
Okay.
And I do workshopping. Even with established broadcasters, I find that everybody has got this thing, they've got strong weaknesses, and I beat them out of them. I don't like to say to people, work on your strengths or work harder on your weaknesses or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't. If you're going to work harder on your weaknesses, you end up with strong weaknesses. So they come to me and I get to bully them and intimidate them, even CEOs.
Because it's very important as a CEO to be able to address your staff. I think people
Yes.
don't realize how important it is to be able to speak in public.
You get people who are comfortable in intimate, small rooms, boardrooms. They dominate. As soon as Mr. CEO of a multinational company has to stand up on stage at a gala dinner, he ums and ahs and falls apart.
They crumble.
So the first time I had a PA phone me to say, could you please coach Mr. Big at our multinational corporation? I was like,
I could make some money out of this.
Yes.
I could make some money out of
and
this.
I said, well, I don't always do it for the money though. And I said to the PA, please, when I get there, I just need an empty room, an auditorium, and it's just going to be myself and Mr. CEO. And you need to be gone, because you know how PAs are. Please don't speak to Mr. CEO like that. Please don't sit it. And I needed to speak to him on a level that we both could handle.
And be honest with them.
And I've got a knack for it.
So speaking of being on stage, auditorium, I was watching this on TV, the funeral service for Simba, and you were on stage, and you dignified the entire thing, just by the way. You really held it together. And it was a special and a befitting, goodbye. How did that hit you?
Hard. Starting with the Saturday that we found out that Simba had passed, Suresh Rider, Sushi, she was messaging me, and we were in a workshop with the radio station I'm at. And I thought, well, Sushi's on air on a Saturday. Why is she messaging me continuously? So I sent her back a text, and I said, in a workshop, is everything okay? And she said, Simba's passed away. And I excused myself from the workshop, and I said to the news crew there, I said, guys, can we make sure that this really has happened? So I used the radio station's resources. And then we found out that it was indeed true. And then one of the first things I did was phone Jonathan to make sure that he was all right, and then phoned Cape Town patients and all of them. And when we went to visit Simba's family to pay our respects and sympathize, Basi asked me if I would MC the funeral. For me, it's a very weird concept.
Right.
And I understood it to be that, yes, it's going to be a large funeral, but it's going to be friends and family and fans and that. I had no idea it was going to be televised.
Do you get a chance to be emotional and fully feel it when you have to be at the helm of something like that? Or did you go home and you fall into a heap of, of emotions and let it all out?
I just thought I'd had some one-on-one mentoring moments with Simba where I'd said, okay, this is where you can polish your game, this is where you can tighten up, this, that. So if he saw me falling apart on stage, he would say, yeah, but
that's not what you taught me, lady.
You're not practicing what you preach. And I just thought, no, I can't let him down. And I know I did waver from time to time, but it was real emotion. And there are times that you can't help the emotion. There are times that you don't need to be the stoic professional.
Love life, what's happening there?
Oh, look, we're out of time.
I need to know.
Where does this come from?
I just need to know that you're glowing. Let's just start there, that you're glowing. And you said, oh, it's a 10, it's a 10, it's a 10. Okay, it's a 10. Yeah, it's a 10. But I mean, is the glow like from an internal place of happiness?
I am internally and eternally happy. I've reached a stage now. My divorce is 2 years old. So I think that respectability window is done.
You have respected the cows. You have respected the lobola.
So I go on dates. Not lots.
You'd be wasting if you weren't going on dates. You would be wasting all of this.
Anele,
Yes.
the amount of frogs that were there before I got married have doubled.
Look at you.
No, there are loads of frogs.
Oh.
And I'm not about kissing frogs anymore to find the prince. I'm done with kissing frogs, dude.
But I'm sure it's nice to age when you still look like you looked when you're 20 years old.
Yeah, but that's why I said earlier on, you've got to start your travel fund and your collagen fund. So the thing about aging is that it's the elasticity of the skin. So I have these treatments called Titan, where they stimulate collagen growth. So you don't need to go cutting on yourself. And with the hairstyle I have, I can't afford to go cutting on myself. So I just every 2.5 to 3 years do the Titan. The cheeks are nice and fullness.
Nice and firm.
Nice and full. Nice and full.
So when we do an episode on how to keep looking 21 at 50, will you come back to the show?
Not 21. Give me a break. Who looks 21?
You do, Ursh, you do.
Oh, no. I said to your makeup artist, I'm stuck at 37. But 21, ridiculous. No, I wouldn't want to be 21 again. Not for all the tea in China. No, thank you, keep it. Even for an Hermes bag, no.
None of that. Ursh, thank you so much for joining us. This was a treat. Because you never do interviews, and I know you don't. But we got you out of here, and I'm glad that it was us that managed to get you on a chair.
You sneaky, sneaky girl.
And that's it from our side. Thank you so much for joining us. Do remember that you can win yourself a 5,000 Rand e-voucher from At Home. Make sure you go to our Twitter page at Real Talk on 3, as well as our Facebook page. From our side, thank you so much for hanging out. Bye-bye.